Hi, folks. All right, so I want to talk to you. I'm going to try to be quick. I always talk about three aspects of drawing. That is the way that we observe things in a drawing, and one of those things is direction. Direction. What I mean when I say direction is that when I look at to draw this, I want to see what direction each of these are going. Any mark here. So I'm looking at direction. How is that direction different than this one? When does this direction come down into this? Is this straight across or is it slightly uplifted? And so I'm judging that. And it's sort of like a way that one of the aspects of shape. I suppose I should put that down here. Because when we're drawing, we're thinking mostly in shape. And so let me show you how that might work. First off, I'm seeing this. By the way, this is an old painting, a print of a painting that I did when I used to airbrush more. And I just want to show you the way that I think about these things. So, the first thing I'm going to do when I'm drawing is, since this is a symmetrical object, I want to divide it down the middle. Normally I would be using pencil, and so these guidelines would be absolutely acceptable. I can judge going straight across, where do I think the top of this should be? Oh, I don't know, I'm going to put it there. If that is the top of it, then I can keep creating those directional marks. Now the next thing I'm going to do, because I did talk a little bit about direction, and I'm starting to put some of those same marks down here that I had, now I want to think about proportion. How big is something? So I might judge how big is this, and then one thing I do is I figure out how big it is in relation to other things. So one thing I'm going to do is, in my mind's eye, I'm going to measure from there to there. I want to measure from here to there. And then so one way I can do that is I can guess. I can look at that. Sometimes I'll just do a rhythm. I'll go, oh, two, two, two. I notice they're almost the same size. So I might be able to say, okay, I want that to come out to here. And then, can I do it here? And boom, boom, boom. And is that going to be acceptable? It might be kind of close because I already did that. Another thing I can do is measure actually like this. I can place my tool down here. I can place my thumb against the tool and say, there's how big that is. So if I'm going right across the middle, from there to there, it looks like I nailed it pretty good. So that's what my practice always does for me. I'm learning how to see, and I think that's the most important thing for you guys to learn. Now, as I decide to make this shape, I'm going to look for this. Now this part I might call proportion. Where is this in relation to each one of these? So I can imagine a line coming up here. I can also imagine a line coming straight down, because it's almost like drawing a grid, but it also lets me know what this part is above. If I've already drawn this line and this one, I think that thing, my grid line, might be up here. So I'm guesstimating right now that if I could imagine this line, I think that I could do it a little bit further out. So a little bit more gradual. So I might be able to make that there. Now I'm going to imagine this line. I'm going to see it in my mind's eye, and I already established, where am I going? Out to here. That I think it starts at that angle, yes. And then I will judge the curve. I want it to come into this. Good. Now this one I can start judging proportion from here to here, from here to here. So I'm judging the thickness and also the angles. I can see this is starting at this angle. I can actually put that right there. and I can start making my marks here. Okay, so this is really the way I think, and I'm going to just show you how I can make an awful lot of mistakes pretty fast. I'm just generally judging where this eye socket is compared to that. I might judge the top of it. What I'm going to do is I notice that the eye sockets both relate to this center, those two bones that form the top of the nose there. So I don't have to do any of my details yet. I can always do those later. So I can continually correct right now. I see that this line sort of came out like this. I might be able to bring it to here and then do more of an upwards. And this one has a nice curve, doesn't it? All right. Now, sometimes I don't know if that's correct until I start doing some of my other lines. So I'm sort of drawing down here. And remember, going straight across, I can judge, oh, you see how I've already gone low because I was looking at this piece here, but look how I've gone, oh man, it's gotten way away from me. So I need to, it's okay. We're making mistakes, and that's what we do. I'm not going to do very much more here because I want to get down to the real nitty-gritty for you guys. Shabonk, blah, blah, pow, okay. And then this, why don't we bring this like this? Okay. I can judge this shape. Oh, I judged really poorly before, didn't I? Now, so you see the way that I'm thinking, the way that I observe is I go for direction, and then I said proportion, which is how large something is in comparison to another thing. You know, how big is this horn compared to the top of the head to the other horn? And then where, what is the proportion between this? Where does this part fall here? So that part I call relation. Oh boy, that's an R. All right, if you say so. Relation, and what that means is the way that I did my dotted line or my line down the middle, I can tell that things are probably proportionate or symmetrical coming across. So I can make, that's a good relation, one to another. I see that this is coming across here, and that should be with about the center of the eye. I can see that the eye is coming up just on the inside of this. So I could have, if this is the proper position of this, then the eye can actually be slightly out further. So those are what I call relations. Where does one part relate to another? That's sort of why I showed these. Where and how does the position of this relate to these other parts? Does that make sense? So I really believe these are the three magic words. And all right, that being said, I want to show you the next 2 or 3 experiments that you're going to do in this process. And it's gonna be some weird stuff. Okay, so remember one of the last things we did, or the first experiment we did, was we did the whole not picking up our pen, the continuous line drawing. And so using our dominant hand, in my case I'm right-handed, so using my right hand, I got in here and I just got the pen moving, and if I needed to come back down or correct anything, oh my God, this is horrible, it's a mess, as they normally are. So the whole thing is, I'm just hoping that you guys are learning that this is more about observation. The reason we do things like this, and one of the reasons I actually work so rapidly in my own work, is because I'm making a lot of decisions, and I can be paralyzed with my decisions if I'm not careful. And so it's really important for me to make a decision, even if it's the wrong decision. And I am making a lot of wrong decisions right now. So, but I'm just going to get back in and correct them. I'm observing all of these things, but rather than measuring carefully like I advised you guys to do a second ago, I am really just having to get in and make the decision. If it's wrong, I redraw it. I end up with something like this, but there is some good in this. Now we've already done that one, so let me tell you the next one we're going to do. And I'm scared for you. I want you to be successful. So here's what we're going to do, and it's a little scary. This is not going to be a continuous line drawing. It's going to be, what we're going to do is, I'm still going to use my dominant hand. I know that sounds weird that I keep saying that, but we're going to use our non-dominant hand pretty soon. If you're right-handed, you'll be using your left hand. And yes, it's going to be horrible. So instead of drawing, remember that the way I would always draw this before is if I saw this curving this way, I would get in and draw it as I saw it. Well, it's hard to see the pencil. I better stick with pen. So this time, what I want to do is I want you to find a picture in a magazine or on your device or on your computer screen, and if you can conceal half of it, we're going to try to do a mirror drawing. And so the mirror drawing is like this. I am going to draw what I see, but just the opposite of what I see. So it's good to find something that is symmetrical. It could be a flower. It could be a bison skull. Oh boy. But the idea, we don't have to do continuous line. I forgot. So one thing that we can do is I need to come further out. I can keep picking up my pen, and I'm doing this, and then do you see how I'm sort of following the same shapes? I'm following this shape now as I go up like this. And now I see this one's coming down. So I'm still judging, but in this case, I'm doing just the opposite. Now this is weird. Granted, it's weird. And let me see. So that's basically the idea. I'm not going to bore you with my failings right now. Just remember, here's what this whole thing is teaching us. We're making decisions, and we're often making them rapidly. Now, you could just do one drawing like this and then turn it in. But if you have some paper around, and you can always flip it over, sort of like I did here. You can use both sides of a paper if you want. Or you can rotate it around if you need to, draw from a number of different angles. If you can do a few drawings, we're just really learning to observe right now. Should I leave you with that one? No. I'm going to do something scary. All right. I think I'm going to attempt... No, I'll grab a new piece of paper, but you guys probably won't. This is the scary part, and I apologize. I am going to do a mirror drawing with my non-dominant hand. That means I'm switching hands now, and I'm going to use my left hand in an effort to do a mirror drawing. Now, our left hands, our non-dominant hands, are not very good. So what that means is that if you are a left-hander, then you will try to do this with your right hand. And once again, this isn't a continuous line drawing. It could be if you felt like challenging yourself that way, but it doesn't have to be. So the idea of drawing with our left hand, especially, remember I've been calling this a right-brained exercise. Supposedly, and I think this is fairly well documented, the right half of our brain controls the left half of our body. Now, we're pretty safe still because we're whole-brained. Most of the time, our entire brain is working together Wow, to create. All right, let me tell you what's going on here. When I really get into drawing, it's difficult for me to speak because speech is something which is, and communication is contained in the left hemisphere of the brain. Our right brain is a nonverbal kind of speaking or nonverbal communication. It's, let's just say it's nonverbal. It's more has to do with space. So I'm judging space with my right brain. And sometimes when I'm really into right brain mode, I just stumble all over my words. I have to put the pencil down and form my thoughts, and then I can speak. So as you're doing this, it's actually advisable to be, well, to be quiet, to be silent. Because when you speak, when you're communicating that way, it's engaging your left brain, and we're attempting to divorce ourselves from our left brain a little bit and sort of awaken our right brain. All right, so there are 2 assignments for you. Pa-pow. You're going to be doing mirror drawings. Mirror, bang. Mirror, that's not an M. Mirror, roar drawings. And you're going to do one with your dominant hand and one with your non-dominant. All right, I'm going to give you maybe, I think, till the end of the week to get this done. It's only really 3 days. Good luck, everybody.